Welcome to myGSPN.com. You're here with your host, Robert Brown.
And Jose Rodriguez.
And it's a fabulous Tuesday. We've got a great show for you. But before we get into it, we'd like to thank our sponsor, GardenGrocer.com. If you're in the Orlando, Disney Resort area, you want to get, your food prep, your drinks, everything, save time, save money, save energy. Go to www.gardengrocer.com, place an order, and your order will be delivered to your resort at the time of your arrival. Now we'd like to get into some baseball from Friday.
Good show.
Pretty good show. Some very exciting, intense baseball. We got districts, states, and regionals coming up for the baseball and for softball, matter of factly. So let's dive into it with some of the big local area schools that have played. Let's start with Timber Creek Wolves versus the Oviedo Lions. Timber Creek going into it at 17-7, and Oviedo at 15-9. Timber Creek gets the win, 2-1, comes out and advances to the next round.
And I thought Timber Creek, I knew Timber Creek was going to get the W, but I didn't think it was going to be that close of a game. Both teams always have a lot of, talent when it comes all the seasons, and every year they have somebody going to college, D1, etc. But Timber Creek being a state champ previously, Oviedo, they've always make it a regional, semifinals. States is the farthest they've ever been, but that experience that Timber Creek has above Oviedo, I think that's what made them win the game, and that's what made it so close.
Definitely can't argue with that at all, but it was a very, very exciting game, very close game. We go to a game that had a little more excitement, I think you'll say.
A little more pop.
Yeah, a little more runs. Lake Brantley Patriots beat the Olympia Titans 9-5. So a lot of runs during this game. And very surprising in my opinion. I followed Olympia, been to a few of their games, and the way that they pitch, for them to give up 9 runs, I just wasn't expecting that.
I mean, pitching is good, but when you have better offense, it's always going to prevail. Lake Brantley's known as always a nice offensive school, and I personally got to, was coached under Lake Brantley's coaches, Eric Entrican. Before he went to Lake Brantley, he was at Wekiva for my freshman year. Okay. And before that, this guy was all about offense. He was literally a genius when it came to hitting. So every year, even if the freshmen or the sophomores need to develop, by the time they're a junior and a senior, these are guys that these are guys that are ready to go, either pro or either college. Again, that's why it's so monitored when it comes to the levels of offense in Lake Brantley's game.
Now, a little twist on a saying that everyone's probably heard, but defense wins games, offense wins championships.
That's true.
It doesn't really matter how great you are. If you best defense, if the offense is better.
Yeah, if you can't score, you're done.
I'm all on board for that. We lose some of the, as you said, the pop, and we get back to some better defensive games. Orangewood Christian versus the Masters Academy. Orangewood gets the win 2-1 to go 17-10 on the year now. Masters Academy loses, and they're 18-6-1. If you look at the records, it's a little bit of an upset. Personally, I didn't have Orangewood Christian winning this game, but I'm not too surprised to see them get the win.
Me neither. And, when I was younger, I will say this little anecdote. When I was younger, I went to a public school, but my number one private school that, I always wanted to go to was Orangewood Christian. And it was because their baseball program was always a step ahead of the public school one. Not, the connections that they got. The coach has always been great with the students and the student athletes, always on top of their grades, and I love it. So Orangewood Christian, I have a couple friends that actually attend it right now, and family members that I know that go to Orangewood Christian and been to Orangewood Christian. So the culture of winning when it comes to baseball or soccer, any other sports that they have, it's abundant.
That's it. We've got the DP Panthers, a very huge school in every sport, baseball, softball, soccer, basketball, football. They lost to the Boone Braves.
I didn't like that.
I wasn't expecting it, but if you look at the record, it's not too big of an upset, or even if you say it wasn't an upset, with Boone being 16-8 and DP struggling a little bit, one game over 500. A lot of scoring again in this game, but Boone took the victory 8-7.
Yeah, and again, man, Dr. Phillips started hot the year. They won a lot of games, and then at the end of the year, that's what counts. It's not how you start the race, but how you finish it. So they got cold, and they started losing games at the end. And again, this is another example of, not executing when you should.
Yeah. And another 2-1 score. This is the third of the 5 games that ended in a 2-1 score. So great defense. The St. Cloud Bulldogs at 14-7 lose to Windermere Wolverines 2-1. Windermere is, they've been on our ranking list. They are a great team at 19-8.
I don't see them. New school too.
Yeah, I don't see them losing. Throughout their district, they can go on and win their class championship. So
I agree. I mean, this is a school that only been in the scene for about 2 or 3 years, maybe at most, if I'm actually exaggerating a little bit. And for them to be 19-8, make it to regionals, and now even the semifinals. That's congrats to them, and hopefully they have not so many seniors so that they can repeat again the same success that they had this year as well.
Definitely. So that was our baseball, a quick look at it with the districts and regionals. We move on to softball, where, it's a little further along. We're getting into the nitty-gritty of it. We have, your regional finals, regional semifinals, state semifinals. So we're getting towards the end of the softball season. They're a little bit ahead of baseball, but still extremely exciting. We want to jump into it with Spruce Creek. Spruce Creek took on University. Or they'll take on University on the 8th. This is a regional semifinals game for 9A. All the softball games that are happening are games to come. So, you can get out to these games, still catch them, go, see the crowning of champions.
And all these games are going to be at 7 p.m. So know your area, know your district, and make sure to support your girls.
Definitely. The next game we have Olympia will take on West Orange. Again, 7 p.m. We don't have the exact location of the games yet, but they'll be released. And as soon as we get them, we'll update our social media, we'll update our website, and our next show will definitely let you know where these games will be played.
Yeah, and again, there's only 16 teams left to play in the 9A region, or class, I should say. After the regional semifinals, they'll go and play the regional finals. The semi, then goes finals, obviously. Then after the state semifinals, they're going to go and perform the state finals. Now, it's the same scenario for the A class as well, because they're in the same plan of action right now in the regional semifinals. And I don't know how many teams are left so far right now in the 8A class as well. When we get that, we're going to get right back to you and get that updated, of course, into all our social media.
Definitely. Staying in 9A, we've got Timber Creek will take on Oviedo. Again, May 8th at 7 p.m., a regional semifinals game for 9A. We've got 8A, East Ridge will take on Freedom. Let's go East Ridge Knights. Definitely rooting for them. Another regional semifinals game. East Bay versus Plant City. And we've also got the Lakewood Ranch versus East Lake. These are 8A regional semifinal games. Again, as he said, all of them will be at 7 p.m. We move on to George Jenkins from Lakeland. Will be taking on Wellington May 8th as well. Regional semifinals game for 8A. We drop down to 4A now, which is,
it's a little bit more step ahead.
We got Berkeley Prep from Tampa, who, they're dominant in really volleyball. I think is their big sport, but a very fantastic school academically and, athletically.
Not only that, but they're playing another powerhouse, which is Montverde.
And, part of this show could be Montverde. We talk about them all the time. Because we do high school sports, and so does Montverde. They do it very, very well.
Yeah, they should go pro.
They definitely could, or at least be a collegiate team for real and compete.
Oh, I agree 100%.
Their basketball could compete at a level. Their baseball could compete. I'm sure their soccer, everything that they do, softball, they can compete at the collegiate level. We want to move on to 3A, Carrollwood Day versus Cornerstone Charter Academy. Just because they're smaller schools, Cornerstone Charter, Carrollwood Day, they bring in a little bit of money, and kids want to play for schools like that they can put their money into the program. So
it's kind of like another Orangewood Christian. Exactly.
Definitely.
You see the fruitful things when it comes to the programs, and you see the activities, the parents more involved, and the coaches actually. I'm not saying that public school coaches, don't care as much, but I'm saying that public school coaches compared to private school teachers are more involved, because that's it's a smaller group. They don't have to do other stuff throughout the day. They just focus on what they're supposed to do.
And it's a different mindset going to these private schools, and especially ones that, they're a little more specific in what sports you want to go to.
Yeah, I agree 100%.
The way that the school approaches it, the way that practices, and,
and the way that scholarships are given as well, it's a little different.
Definitely. So you expect those, just because it's a smaller classification doesn't mean the talent's any smaller. Now we want to go to 2A. Masters Academy from Vero Beach will take on Mount Dora Christians Academy from Mount Dora, Florida. Again, a very, very similar situation where, smaller schools, smaller classification, a little bit more money thrown into it. Baseball is being a huge sport for them, so softball, I'm sorry, this can be a very exciting game between
sport, kind of the same.
Two powerhouses. The 4, 3, 2, and 1A classifications are all in regional finals right now, so they're a smidge ahead of the 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 classifications. So definitely try to go see those games as early and as quick as you can. With some other games will be coming a little bit later.
Like you said, little schools but big talent.
Definitely.
So make sure not to miss any of the action that these girls are going to be portraying on the field for you guys.
Definitely. We want to take a quick look around the country real quick and talk about recruiting. Duke is fantastic, as always. They have the #1 recruiting class in the country with the #1, #2, #3, and #17 ranked player already. They just added another kid who was a top 15 player in the class of 2019. He reclassified, to help the greatest recruiting class possibly ever. He reclassed and is now the #39 ranked player in the class of 2018. Joey Barker, a power forward. He's a stretch guy, can shoot the three, can go down low, good rebounder.
And you have to now. I mean, if you're playing 4 and 5 nowadays, especially in the NBA, you need to shoot the three-pointer.
Definitely. He may red shirt. Coach K doesn't do that too often because he is a year younger. Marvin Bagley last year did the same thing where he reclassified and, he was the #1 player in the entire country still. So he didn't have to sit down. And even R.J. Barrett this year reclassified, still was the #1 player in the entire country, even moving up a year. So this kid isn't quite at that level, but he's a fantastic player and only makes Duke's, greatest recruiting class ever even better. And then we have Romeo Langford, shooting guard, #5 overall player in the country. Absolutely fantastic shooter, scorer, slasher. He finally signed with Indiana. So that's huge for
and that's
the
good
state.
for them, and it's good for the state. It's about time a nice piece of talent for basketball or any high-end sport stays in their own state.
Yeah, definitely.
Indiana gives out a lot of talent when it comes to high school, but they usually like to part ways with their own state and never to be seen again. So good for Romeo and supporting his own state and his own cause and trying to stay close with the family and friends.
Definitely. He reminds me, hopefully he can remind me of Victor Oladipo leaving Indiana. He had a fantastic career there and is having had a great year this year, especially his playoff run that he had playing against the Cavs. But we appreciate you tuning in to the show. Any student athlete that wants to be featured on the show, send us in videos to videos@myGSPN.com.
Again, we just want to thank our sponsor today, and the show is brought to you today by GardenGrocery.com. If you're coming on vacation from anywhere to the Orlando area, to Walt Disney Resort, Universal, etc., just go to www.gardengrocery.com, make sure to place an order, and save time, money, and eat anything you want to eat while you're on vacation here in Orlando, Florida.
We thank you for tuning in. Again, all student athletes, we encourage you to go to www.myGSPN.com. Create a player profile and go to our social media, follow us on everything so we can start interacting with you. We'll be back tomorrow with more news, highlights, and updates. Thank you. Hopefully we see you there.
All right, thanks for tuning in.